Everybody. My name is Beth, and I'd like to do a quick thing talking about my thoughts and feelings regarding a movie that I've seen a couple of commercials on, and that I'm kind of like, I don't know exactly how to feel about it, so I figured make a YouTube video. Let's talk about it and have a conversation. So the movie that I'm talking about is called the Happytime Murders. And if you've heard that Jim Henson Company was kind of ticked off at him because the tagline for it is "No Sesame, all Street," and Jim Henson has Sesame Street, and so they're obviously not impressed with something called the Happytime Murders, trying to play with that little joke. And it stars Melissa McCarthy, and the basic premise is in a world where people and puppets live together, somebody's murdering puppets, and a human and a detective have to work together to solve the case before more people get murdered. And if it sounds familiar, it's very similar to many a buddy cop comedy and many a buddy cop feature film, and also the one that I found the most closest to it was the Who Framed Roger Rabbit movie and the Who Censored Roger Rabbit book series. Now, in theory, this movie sounds like it would be a very interesting, kind of clever movie. Like, okay, you have, in the sense that, this nostalgic stuff from the 80s and 90s are coming back and being looked at through a much more darker lens. Five Nights at Freddy's takes the Chuck E. Cheese, Showtime biz and kind of gives it a darker spin. Some of the horror games that have been coming out take a darker spin on things. Movies and reboots are kind of going for a more darker, grittier edge. Let's re-examine childhood stuff through a modernist edge or something. I don't know, I'm just making stuff up as I go along. So, the idea, you have a world where puppets and humans work together, shenanigans and stuff like that kind of ensue because of elements like that. On paper, sounds good. Sounds good. You have a cop, you have two opposing viewpoints who have to work together to figure out what's going on and stuff like that. My problem is that the humor and the stuff that I've been seeing in the commercials is pretty lazy. Like, one of the running jokes that appears to be one of the things that's going to go throughout the film is that Melissa McCarthy's character is mistaken for a guy. Now, Melissa McCarthy as the female character, like, she doesn't dress provocatively or anything like that. She kind of dresses like a private investigator or a detective would dress like if they're on the job, especially if there's murder going around. And like, the only difference is that she's Melissa McCarthy. And so I'm trying to figure out whether or not they're kind of doing the old joke of like, and trying to spin it in a new way where it's like, she's not conventionally pretty, therefore we're gonna run with the joke that she's a guy. Or if they're just like, crap, we need something funny. Everyone mistakes her for a guy. Why can't we just do something fun? There's like a bunch of other jokes we could do. No, she must be mistaken for a guy. There is only one joke we can play with in this buddy cop. Okay, boss. Or something like that. I mean, there are elements that this could be funny. I mean, one of the scenes that's shown in the movie is she's walking down an alleyway and two hooker puppets street puppets of the night, call her handsome and be like, hey, don't you want to have some fun with us? Melissa McCarthy's like, I'm a woman, there's a beat, and then the two puppets kind of look at each other and are like, "Don't matter, we can have some fun, come on." And okay, I mean, it is kind of funny. I think it might have been funnier if instead of like even remotely mentioning Handsome or anything, they were like, "Hey, honey, hey," and Melissa McCarthy's like, "I'm not a man," and she jumps to the conclusion, "Hey, they think I'm a guy," and it's like, "No, we just want to have some fun. We want to make money." But I'm probably overthinking that joke. There's also some elements of the jokes and some stuff and the attempt to be more raunchy, trying to be Avenue Q, but still stay in the box that they're trying to go with. Another scene involves Melissa McCarthy trying to get her partner, the puppet dude, out of a lunchbox and grab something else, which I don't think puppets are designed that way, but what do I know? I don't know. I mean, only certain puppets are designed that way. I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? It feels a lot like this movie is going to end up being a very poor attempt in doing a good idea. Like, you could actually make a movie. You could make a movie or a TV series or anything like this with this premise of there's puppets, there's people. There's two things. They have to work together to solve murders and stuff. And they gotta work together. They have clashing ideas. And that would be called Who Framed Roger Rabbit, because that series pretty much kind of handled it, and is kind of the benchmark that I'm kind of going with here. Heck, even Cool World kind of handles that to a certain extent, though Cool World's more focused on other aspects of cartoons and human interaction than what Who Framed Roger Rabbit was about, but I digress. Am I going to see it? Probably not. If it shows up on TV, I might see it, or I might just be like, "Oh, okay, it's on. I'm going to go watch Chopped or something." Or, hey, there's reruns of American Ninja Warrior, some other thing going on. So I don't know. I guess probably why I'm being like, "Hey, wait," and focusing so much on it is that I have been working on an idea that is similar in concept to, well, more in line with Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the subsequent book sequels than the Happytime murders, and it's just kind of like, oh, the idea of entertainment and people kind of working together and having to solve a giant problem. I will note, however, that there is a scene that does give me some semblance of hope, in which it does show up in the commercials and stuff, so it's not so much of a spoiler, but people get murdered, blah. And so while Melissa McCarthy's character is investigating one of the crime scenes, one of her officers comes in holding this little tiny black dog, like this, and there's a big evidence tag around the dog's neck, and he's like, "I found the murder weapon." And it's this cute little puppy dog, and he's just like, "Huh?" So there's a good chance this movie might surprise us all, and they're just doing, let's have awful edited trailers, awful scenes in the trailer, so we can get people to complain about this movie, so people can go and see this movie and prove themselves right or wrong or whatever, in kind of that weird cycle of, this movie looks awful, so I'm gonna go watch this movie because it's awful, so I can know how awful, that's a word apparently, awful this movie is. So, yeah. Or it might just be a bad buddy cop comedy that tries to be raunchy that tries to be the comedy and raunchy in a way that's supposed to be like Avenue Q, but kind of misses the point of why the raunchy comedy in Avenue Q works for Avenue Q and why Happytime Murders doesn't work, and why stuff like Five Nights at Freddy's and 123 Slaughter Me Street work more in doing the here's your childhood but darker, because 123 Slaughter Me Street's kind of plays with the this is kind of going on in a guy's head as he's falling to his death, or some weird kind of shenanigans go inside his head, and he happens to be in the old studio with the killer puppet things. And Five Nights at Freddy's place not only takes the uncanny valley elements of the animatronics, but also kind of plays into the real adult fear of, I go to this place because my kids want to go to this place, and I'm trusting these people to take care of my kids while I go do whatever I do. And it creates the dark element through suspense and bringing in real world adult fears while also still maintaining that childlike fascination. Or I'm overthinking the entire thing, and I should probably stick to other stuff. Either way, who knows? We'll see what happens. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Feel free to leave your own thoughts in the comments on whether you think the Happytime Murders is just going to be the happy time, I can't believe they wasted production time on this, or pull a Jim Henson Miyazaki misquote and go, puppetry was a mistake, or something like that. Or you're excited for this film and can't wait to see disembodied puppet parts. Or you know what the proper term for a puppet streetwalker is. Or you're curious about any other ideas, or how you would make this movie better. So feel free to leave your thoughts and comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day. Bye!